God dang, you done good, man.
I just bought the most expensive motorcycle I've ever bought.
So I'm at the Ole swap meet here in Pennsylvania, and it's a whole bunch of old Harley stuff. Now, I've been trying to get a hold of my buddy Matt Waxler for a few weeks now to tell me exactly what it is I bought. And I figured the easiest way was to come to the swap meet, set up a table, and he would find me.
That's right, man.
So
It's easy to find, man. That's the stuff I'm into. So, I mean, good pile of stuff.
Tell me what I got.
Okay, so when you called me, you said, hey, I bought a 1919 Harley J model, and you know, as far as the year goes, it all revolves around pretty much the engine and the frame. Everything else, the parts from all sorts of years are interchangeable. Now, immediately, one of the first things you notice is that it's a whole rolling chassis, and it looks like it's pretty correct stuff, and it's got the right early frame. So like 1920 and later, they did a reinforcement down here. So this is like, this frame particularly would be like 1917 to 19. It looks like it's probably the frame that came with the bike. You got the right low front fork leg here.
Okay.
So that's, in 20 it went up taller. In 16 it was a little different of a fork, and 15 even different yet. You got, looks like the right fenders. That's slightly later rear hub, but that's okay because they're all interchangeable, and that early hub is really hard to find, and that's the reason they went to the later one, is it's just a better hub. So you probably got 1/4-inch rollers in there. It is a later brake, but that's okay too, or you don't have the brake.
Okay, so how is this brake? Inside or outside?
It's an outside brake.
Okay.
Now the 19 and back was an inside brake. Okay, so the brake drum, I think, is interchangeable. So you could either find, and this is incomplete here, you've got the straps for the brake, and I bet somebody has them here. There's a fella right over this way that I bet.
A box of stuff there too.
Okay.
That I don't know.
Cool, cool. So this would be an external like strap brake.
Okay.
The 19 backing plate is really hard to find out. Depends on what your purpose is with this bike. If you want to restore it and ride it, I have a friend that actually reproduces that early brake, but he fixes it for knucklehead brake shoes. Oh. So it's actually really taking a brake that was underpowered and making it way more substantial. Yeah. The wheels are a little small, so this would have like actually it's the tires that are a little small. So let me think. No, this would have 28-inch wheels initially, and these are 26s. So that I wouldn't worry too much about. If you guys don't mind, we're filming a YouTube show here. None of this is for sale either. Tires, no big deal though. You're a little lower to the ground. Beautiful seat.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
So fenders, original?
Yeah, definitely original.
Frame, original?
Original frame, original fenders. Original but wrong year, but that's okay. And actually,
repop rims though.
I don't know that they're remade rims. They're just a later or different size. But you could put some 20 by 385 tires on, which are a little bit more balloon, bigger, more substantial tire. Set you up a little taller and give you a little more contact patch on the road. Okay. The forks looks really nice.
Forks original.
Original, and that's the right hub, again, with a smaller front rim. Later handlebars. Okay. So these are like handlebars from like a 30s bike. They'll fit, they'll work just fine. Personally, I would, nice as that chassis is, get some bars that are right for the chassis. You know, they'll come back a little bit more, just a little skinnier than this. That's a really good brake lever and brake cable that I'll be happy to buy off you when you're done.
So, I guess, like, how do I figure out what these fit then?
Looking at the bend, I'd think that those are like Harley 45 bars from the early 30s, like on a DL or an RL, just with the sweep, with the length of the spiral. It's post 28, we know that because there's a brake on there, and they didn't come out with a brake until 28, front brake. So yeah, these are, and then this here is actually for a throttle controlled oil pump with this. So where the oil pump worked off the throttle, just with some blockage and linkage that ran down from the throttle block down to the oil pump. So you got, you know, latest it would be 1936 with those. That the engine?
That's the engine.
Nice, cool. It's by the VIN number, it says L19A and it's a high VIN number for the year. Now, the L at the beginning would mean it's an electrically equipped bike. So an electrically equipped bike would have a generator, a coil, a distributor to power headlights, taillights, horn.
Okay.
This bike has a mag on it, so at some point that was switched. So currently the way that it's set up, it won't run a headlight, taillight, horns, or any of that. That's all switchable, and all the parts are obtainable. There's a lot of guys here that rebuild the generators, and you can find a new replacement coil that's in the proper, correct housing. So that stuff's all available. Depends on what you want to do with it.
What if I find a carbide light?
That'll work just fine, you know. And then the
That'd be
only,
cool.
yeah, that would be really cool, you know, with the tank. I've already seen a couple tanks roaming around. Somebody probably makes the bracketry. The bracketry is harder to find.
In 19, would have they had those, or was that after?
Either one.
Either one. Okay. I was getting some different information there. That's why I wasn't sure.
They started electrics in 1915, and kind of weak generators 1915 to maybe 1917 or 18, and then in 19 they beefed that generator up, and it's a pretty rebuildable industrial unit. So, and like I said, the VIN number would be a generator model, but that's a hard mag to find. You'd need some replacement parts and probably need a mag rebuild. And then this inner chest here is specifically for a magneto. So the inner cam chest, inner cam cover there, you would need a replacement with a few different gears if you wanted to run the
Mags are pretty
generator
cool.
and coil. Mags are great. You know, I love a magneto. You don't have to worry about leaving your switches on, which I have a problem with. So,
Well, pretty complete though. I mean, everything's.
yeah. And does it spin over?
I think so.
Yeah, let me see. Oh yeah, it spins over. You got a guy to rebuild that?
I got a few guys I can call.
I might know a guy.
All right. Give me his number before we part ways.
Okay, you got my number.
Hold on once. Did I just hear what I thought I heard? Is Matt really going to rebuild this engine?
You got my number.
You got my number.
Motor mounts.
Top motor mount. So this motor mount here goes here,
Yep.
and this right
Is that
there
one?
slips right into
Yeah,
there.
okay,
So
cool.
that's what you
'Cause I
got.
want to get that into there so I'm not breaking anything.
Definitely. And when you do, it's kind of a pain in the butt. You're gonna take this off. You gotta slip the motor in, and these go on this side, but the motor's got to go in from this side, and then you got to fish it for. It's
Okay.
you know,
So in from the right, but mounts stay on the left.
have four hands.
Okay.
You know, have some help.
I need friends.
Yeah.
Friends.
Transmission.
Transmission. Is this the right one? I think it's the right one.
It's the right era and by the year. Let me think. There should be a number here.
I don't know. It looks like with the brackets they had it on an old Baylor. Or
Yeah, and you know
or
this
something.
is some huge sprocket, so you'll need a replacement there, and there's plenty of places to get the new sprockets. There's you got like a knife or a let's see here.
It's a scraper.
It's a scraper. that's what
My
I
knife
asked
cuts
for.
very little.
Yeah, and I don't want to go like scratching up your case, but if you're restoring it, you're going to bead blast it anyway. So the way that these work is with a letter code that I always have to count back, because the only one I ever memorized was 24, and that's an M. So 24 is an M, 23 is an L. Who's good at their ABCs backwards?
Dude, neither sober nor drinking.
Okay, so yeah, so L's 23, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K,
He's fine.
L. L is 22, or K is 22. J's, it's one of those things you'll play 1.5 times speed.
G. I'm at G.
Who's got a pen? Yeah, a pen. Angie got a smaller knife. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. 19's an H.
Okay.
Yeah, 19 would be an H. You like how I did that? So yeah, you'll have to see what it is, but 24 and back all fits the same.
Okay.
So even if it's not an H on there, because you got to remember, these stuff got used hard. All it had taken was a guy running one of these out of oil or banging a gear too hard, and maybe instead of rebuilding it, they just got a new transmission. You never know. But that transmission will definitely plug in. That's no problem. The clutch itself, the outer plate is 19, maybe 19, but 20 and later. See, 19, it's kind of cool. In 19, the Eclipse company sued Harley and Indian and Excelsior, maybe before 19, for patent infringement on their clutches. So by 19, Harley redesigns their clutches. Eclipse actually won, and that's the later style, but there's 19 T's and there's 19 A's, and nobody's ever known, yours is an A. So nobody's ever known what the difference between the T and the A is, and I always kind of thought it might have been the clutch distinction, but it's just, I'm winging it. Yeah, so parts, favorite part. So yeah, you got a good start. Ditch the bracket, you can set that thing right in, and when you get the trans rebuild there, and those things are pretty infinitely rebuildable.
Sweet. I know what that is, and I think it's original.
Yeah, that's a nice one. You can see pitting in it.
Yeah.
You know, and it may have been cut short, or maybe there's just the bracket here that sets on top of the outer primary, which, ooh, nice. Those are cool. Man, those are in good shape too. Holy moly.
Now, did they ever have, they didn't have red in this year?
No, so they're definitely repainted. You can see the original green on the inside. Wow, those are cool. The caps are like later, but those are really cool caps with the rings in them. Maybe 1923, 22, 23 maybe.
Okay.
3-speed, nice tanks, man. And these are the type of tanks, because these things, 90% of the tanks you see out there are garbage. And these are really nice.
I got a little, I mean, here a
few
little
dents,
bit,
man, but you know, you get.
I think they're pretty solid.
Yeah, they look solid. There ain't no pinholes in those. Not that you can see.
Jeez, man, you should have been with me this week. Every time I put gas in this stupid Yamaha tank, it leaked. I found a new hole every time.
You need a Caswell sponsorship.
I know. I even have the Caswell sitting on the workbench, and I didn't use it.
Yeah. Well, you get.
How clean? How clean do I have to get those tanks?
You don't.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you can put it in over rust.
Are you serious?
And the stuff what I always do is I leave it in there and let it set up, and then tip it over and let the last bit of it come out, and then. But I want it on that thick, and I don't care if my tank's heavy. I want to know that it's not going to leak.
Yeah.
You know, because that Caswell, you can cut the tank away and you'd have a clear tank, you know. Yeah, really cool.
Love them, dude. That's just the style.
25, 2800, $3,000 gas tanks.
Okay.
Yeah, potentially more in that shape.
With the brackets and
right. You know, you get those
complete.
caps, or a guy give you 200 a piece for those caps. You know, so.
We're doing good so far.
Headlight stuff, yeah. So if you got a mag, no need.
I don't know if any of that stuff.
That's a VL horn, doesn't apply. This doesn't apply. Battery box. This may be the right battery lid. I'd have to think about it. Maybe the right battery lid.
You're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, but if you're running a mag, batteries are for the other guy. This is a bunch of nice stuff. Yeah, clutch pedal. That's a 45 clutch pedal, 45 kickstand bracket. These are for a different bike. This is for a different bike. Different bike. This is for your bike. That's really nice.
I know what that's the
hard part to
shifter.
find. Shifter tower
That goes
goes on
onto
top
the
of the
trans.
trans. All this little linkage is ball joint stuff.
That's rad.
Yeah, the original nickel plating on it. That's a great piece. Yeah, that right there's altogether $400 or better. This might be the right one. Maybe. Nope. So that's 45, looks like. So parts that don't belong in parts.
Here, let's just set them down on the bottom.
Yeah, this is the pile of stuff I'm gonna buy.
Okay.
So, yeah, 45. Doesn't belong. Doesn't belong. This all goes to the same bike too. Whatever this was, doesn't belong. That you could turn into the kicker pedal for that. A pair of these. Rear stand clip.
Got one.
Got one. That's kind of 45-ish anyway. Doesn't belong. Relay, too late. Shifter linkage for a 45. About this whole box, you want to use that. Even though your other one's the T-style handle, that one will work. That would have been for your distributor if it was a battery model. There's your other, these are your 2 headlight brackets.
Okay.
So that's a yes.
So is that just a third?
That's right, that's another one. That one's original finish too. What do you got here? Clutch lever, same thing. Shifter lever, same thing. All this stuff
Okay.
goes with the other bike. So, and should we find out what this is? Do you know what this is?
I don't know what it is.
What does it sound like?
I got coal for Christmas.
I'm hoping it's a spark plug, but I don't think a spark plug will fit in there.
No.
4 spark plugs just sold for $825.
Sounds like
It's bearings. It's gonna be bearings.
it's gonna be bearings.
You're gonna open that up and 28 little balls are gonna hit the ground, so what's gonna
We
happen?
got a knife here. Yeah.
Told you, don't cut stuff very often.
Oh,
Oh, yo.
taillight lens.
Yeah.
That's a nice taillight lens too. Yeah, no,
we had that bracket.
not for this. That's already got one. That's for that's like a knucklehead taillight lens, and it's broken, but it's usable.
So, knucklehead. Well, but it's broken, so it's probably
34 and
40,
up. 34.
4,500 bucks.
Yeah. I like how you think. You,
Would've been
you, knew-
85
you knew
if it
I
wasn't
needed
broke.
this, didn't you? You knew I needed it. Yeah, cool. So
This also came with this bike.
there's your brakes. So this is the brake stuff that, it works. It goes on 2 pins.
Yeah.
Does one of these.
Yeah.
You know what I've been using for this? Finding the original brake linings is tough. And you can get on eBay and find elevator brake.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and you can find the width that you need and then cut it to length. It's asbestos, so you wear your best mask when you're drilling it and riveting it, but
Bandana.
yeah, that's right.
Wait, should I be worried that elevators are stopping with 1919 technology?
I think the new stuff is probably different, but you want some good brakes. That's a probably era correct electric taillight. So that would have been for your
That would be for this.
probably,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not really good at the years of the lighting and stuff like that. But bent up connecting rods, those are wall hangers.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, neat. This
So while we're doing this,
45, yeah. Cams, 2 breather gears, early cam followers. So that's a pair for this engine case, which I bet you I'll at least get you pointed in the right direction for putting stuff together. So this is like a 15, 16, what we call a raised Milwaukee case. So this is 1915 and 16 only. And
Okay.
and you even got the right lifter covers, and then you have these 2 guys, cam followers. This is cool the way all this stuff works. So these are your exhaust cam followers,
Oh, yeah.
right? So you got any Croyle?
Somebody sent me a bottle. I got it in the shop. Works great. Hate the smell.
Yeah, you'll learn to love it. You'll learn to love it. You can spit on it. So anyway, that's your setup there. And these, get in there. The lifters are probably frozen. Not frozen. So anyway,
There we
there's a whole.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, and then you got breather gear, rides off the pinion gear, cam chest goes out this way, and runs your mag or electric. So, but that's the proper early setup. And they went, now your 19 will have this stuff in it, okay, which this is 2-lobe and 4-lobe. And you've got maybe 1917 through 29, and this is the early style. And they just did this because you can see the timing changes a little bit on this. The 1-lobe operated both exhausts and 1-lobe operated both intakes.
Yeah.
And this, they're dialing that timing in front and rear cylinder
And
a
that's
little
just
better.
because it's a later year and they just improved
Figuring it
as
out.
they, yep.
Yeah, they're figuring it out. So good stuff. These are all good pieces though.
Do you think this goes to it?
That would be your Speedo drive for that wheel.
Cool.
Let's set that down. Oh yeah, then the remainder in there, those are, ooh.
Ooh, two oohs.
This is some nerdy stuff that nobody even knows about, but these are 1930 only VL brake shoes. They're aluminum, which is crazy. I'm the only pair of those.
Dude, they're so light.
They're the only pair I've ever seen. Yeah, and which doesn't make them worth anything because they all got thrown away because they're
junk.
They're junk, but it's just cool because VLs early on, they had all these teething problems that they were changing things, and the aluminum brake shoes was one of them. And I only know that because I read the books.
Wow, man.
And see, they're plated with steel
on
there.
top. Steel cap, because that's where they're wearing.
That's right.
Dude, that is rad.
Yeah, those are really light. I've never even seen a pair. Yeah, and then here, nothing substantial. A lot of this stuff looks like may not even go with this. Well, you know, there's your motor mounts.
Oh.
So this, you know, hang it off of here. So and I'm just gonna do one so you know what it looks like. These go through the, come on out of there. Through the steel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll need a file, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Anyway, who's got a banger? A hammer.
Well, I got a pocket knife.
There you go. Let's see here. Okay, so then you get the teething part, or the teeth on your...
Oh, because that matches up with the engine case.
That's right. And then one of your lock washers I just dropped in the grass.
The lawnmower, I'll find it. There it is.
You found it? Okay. And so that's your setup. So
Okay.
that's how the engine gets properly mounted in
Rad.
there. Cool. And then there's cotter pin.
Yep.
And those are the original bolts, you know. They reproduce all that stuff. But if you're going to do a shiny bike, bead blast that stuff, re-nickel plate it. That's really nice stuff to have.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe there's plenty of this that's part of the, you know, these
there's the other
yeah,
set.
that's the other set. These little things are what anchor those to the
right on.
spokes. That's what anchor those to the spokes. This holds your rear primary cover, engine seal, bearing cages, lots of screws and nuts and bolts that are probably, if that motor's complete, they're from this stuff. Yeah, nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Can hang on to that stuff.
Yeah, keep all that. What do you got for this set of cases? So this,
Okay, and I got my rear rack, and then this is everything I bought to go along with the J. Everything.
Okay.
This all came with all that.
Yep.
$12,750. No buyer's premium. Out the door.
You did good, man. Yeah, you did real good. You know, you couldn't go and piece all those parts together, especially what we look through in the boxes, because you get nickel and dime to death on that. At a swap meet like here, there's probably 18 grand worth of stuff right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I'm not in trouble yet.
No, you're sure not. I
Okay.
think you're sitting in a really good spot.
And then I bought 4 box lots.
Okay.
You set them up there, the lights, short.
Stay.
It'll stay.
Bear with us, folks. We're getting there. Hey, yeah.
4 times, that's it?
That's it.
Yours?
Yep.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Got it.
I think that might be a cylinder for the J with less broken fins.
Yeah, that's a 17 to 19 front cylinder. And there's no big grooves in it either. So if you're looking for cosmetics, I'd swap the cylinders out.
Okay.
Because that's got a pile of broken fins on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would that cylinder be?
A cylinder like this, $600.
Okay.
Probably. You can buy a set, a really nice set for maybe $1,500. Really nice set. You know, it depends.
Okay.
You know.
I gave $25 for it.
Oh God. Yeah, you done all right.
All right.
Yeah, cool. Good man. Good deal. These 28 JD, 74 inch. You got cam followers, compression release. So that's another box lot.
Yep.
How'd you do on this?
I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, what do you?
$25.
So this piece right here, just that piece is worth $75.
The grease on it's worth 25.
Yeah, right. The grease is worth 25. So, nice job.
Okay. Awesome.
I need to start hanging out with you more often. I'm at the wrong places.
I have no idea. Nobody, they stopped paying attention for that long.
Yeah, that's all it takes, man. At
And
the
when he
auction,
know-
when the energy goes out of a room, it's the time to be
I'll be
in.
honest, I thought I was in at 50, so I took pretty much everything off the table. I had choice, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I took 4, and then when I went back and looked at the footage, it was 25, or I looked at my bill, it's like, wait. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Charge me enough. You guys didn't charge me enough. Oh, crazy, man. So this is like a 29 JD cylinder. 29 JD cylinder. Steering dampener for a big twin. Yeah.
Garage door spring.
Garage door spring, right? These are some pistons for
And they still look
74. No. Yeah, these would be the 61-inch original type pistons. And then this is a 16 to 19 flywheel. So this is what's inside of that motor, or ought to be. And then that rod is like a late JD rod also. So that's the holes look kind of small, but it's a big wrist pin, so it's 24 and later.
okay.
Cool. Wow, amazing. Cool.
And then that one. And that
25
one,
bucks.
25.
God dang, you done good, man. Proud of you.
Thanks. I learned from the best. Well, I think we're doing pretty good, and I learned a lot so far. I'm really getting excited about this project now, and I wanted to get Matt's take on everything before I started screwing things up or hunting for parts or doing this or doing that, because when you know somebody that knows so much about this stuff, you might as well, you know, take advantage of it. Well, not take advantage, but, you know, use it to your advantage. Are these aren't, is this broken? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's,
Doesn't
guys
matter.
knock those out just cause.
Okay.
Yeah, knock them out just cause. And then, yeah, then this cylinder, I actually have a rear. Nice pile of stuff.
That was a fun auction.
Yeah, I bet it was,
Yeah.
man. I bet it was. I wish I was there. You'd have had to pay 50 bucks for it. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, it was the wildest thing. Like I said, they had a bunch of stuff on the table, and somebody else pulled, I don't know, a box of engine parts, and then that was all he took. And they restarted the auction, and all it took was 2 minutes for nobody to be paying attention, you know?
Yeah, that's right, man.
And then it was over.
Amazing. Yeah, so that's your replacement right here.
Okay.
That's the one you want to put on there. This is a bigger bore.
Okay.
So this is a 3 5/16, 3 7/16. Particularly that's 29, or a replacement one that they made later.
Telling because of the
Well,
depth
yeah,
of this.
well, it's just, you see on this side better. So it breaks, and this one is connected, and then on top of that, those have straight fins, where this one has radial fins. Neat stuff. And I need a front one of those too, so let me know what you want for it. And then, yeah, gosh, awesome. You did great, man. You did really good. Yeah.
Beginner's luck.
Beginner's luck. Well, keep the beginner's luck, or you just stay a beginner, man.
Yeah.
Because we don't have luck like this. Yeah,
So I'm pumped. Like I said, I mean, it's pretty darn complete.
yeah.
You know, I don't need much.
You know, you don't need much, man. And having the tanks is great. You need some tin. You need some foot controls. I would get a new pair of bars to make them the right bars. Those are a little dinged and dented up anyway. And restoring tubing's really tough. Yeah, and you know what? You might just leave those wheels and tires on it, because it sits a little low and it's nice.
Just be different.
Yeah.
You can always put bigger tires
Well,
on.
I think they had an option for those wheels, those smaller rims. So maybe it was always like that.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, nice job.
All right, so guys, I am super excited about this project. I am super thankful that I have my friend Matt that can help me kind of figure all this out and do it in the proper way to make you guys proud. Matt, thank you so much for taking the time. I really do.
It's my
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
You
And
know I love to help, man.
I did get something here. These saddlebags. I know you're a saddlebag guy, so when these came up, I had to get them for you.
I love them, dude.
Because I know.
Really cool.
Last time we were down with you, a box came, and there was saddlebags in it, and you were like over. You talked about them all day.
Kid in the candy store,
Yeah.
man. I love this sort of stuff. Never was a saddlebag guy, but I'm a new man. So awesome. So these
Yeah.
are for me, dude?
Those are for you, dude. And that's to say thank you for coming to help.
Oh, man, thanks for
I
it.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
definitely, dude. Well, when you get ready to get rid of the rest of this stuff, just let me know, man, because I'll have interest in it. Not all of it, but
Well, your trailer's here, so
yeah?
yeah.
Cool.
So Matt and I are gonna figure that out and then go look for some more parts.
Cool.
Cool. So Matt has the engine and the transmission along with all the little parts that go on that. He also took the extra parts that I bought at the auction, and I believe we're gonna be doing some horse trading here. Absolutely floored, but over the moon excited that Matt's gonna be rebuilding the engine for us. Go check it out on his channel, Wheels Through Time. Fantastic content. Now, my next step is, once I get these things bolted on, I'm gonna start figuring out the handlebars and cables and all the little stuff. I'll go through some of the boxes I have, start bolting some little things to this. Guys, this is not gonna be a fast project. This is probably gonna take us a year. So, I am taking my time. I'm not gonna screw it up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Dan's gonna put a video here and here. Check him out. Know you're gonna love him. Have a great weekend. Later. Oh, that didn't work. I'm not gonna screw it up.
Not gonna screw it up.